워치스 앤 원더스에서는 일부 브랜드가 자기네 워크샵이나 매뉴팩처를 특별히 공개하곤 합니다. 다만 대부분은 제한적인 공간만 보여주고 사진이나 영상 촬영은 금지하는 경우가 많습니다. 그런데 스위스 루체른에 본사를 두고 있는 독립 브랜드 크로노스위스는 달랐습니다. 모든 제작 과정을 촬영해도 좋다고 허락해줬고요. 덕분에 오늘 영상에서는 진짜 수공 기요셰 다이얼이 어떻게 만들어지는지, 그리고 파이어 에나멜이 실제로 어떻게 완성되는지 여러분들께 독점적으로 보여드릴 수 있게 됐습니다. 크로노스위스라는 브랜드에 큰 관심이 없으셨던 분들이라도 이번 영상은 기요셰와 에나멜이 실제로 어떻게 만들어지는지를 직접 보고 배울 수 있는 교육적인 컨텐츠가 될 거라 믿습니다. 많은 관심을 부탁드리겠습니다. 또 많은 분들이 크로노스위스 하면 레귤레이터나 오프스를 떠올리실 텐데요. 이번 방문에서는 그 두 모델로 환원되지 않는 다양하고 아이코닉한 타임피스들이 전시된 파노라마형 미니 박물관도 둘러볼 수 있었습니다. 회사 벽에 복도를 다 이렇게 미니 박물관 형태로 꾸려놨어요. 그래서 브랜드의 역사와 개성을 한눈에 볼 수 있었습니다. 어지간한 대형 브랜드가 제공하는 방문 취재 패키지보다 더 알찬 정보로 꽉꽉 차 있는 투어 경험을 했는데요. 시계에 관심이 있는 분들이 루체른에 들르신다면 꼭 크로노스위스의 워크샵을 방문해 보시길 추천을 드리고 싶었습니다. 그러면은 기요셰 작업실을 시작으로 오늘 크로노스위스 워크샵 투어를 시작해 보겠습니다.
So Dimitri, that is now cutting the dial, is one of our designers. He's also the guilloché master and the enamel master of the house. So what you see is a very old machine. We work on century-old machine. This one is from 1924, so it's an old grandma, and it works every day. We still work with it. Guillochage, it's a geometrical pattern that is used to decorate metal parts. Dates back from the 17th century, correct? Right, Dimitri? So the whole idea is to use this central body part here to convey a move on the dial on the front section. And you see with the left hand, he turns the wheel. With the right hand, he pushes the cutting tool into the dial to cut the dial. So no dial are exactly the same, because it's a human triggering the machine. Depending on the speed and on the pressure he apply, you get a different dial. So they're all unique, like a fingerprint.
So actually, this technique is
it's a peaceful collaboration between machines and humans, right?
Yeah, very, very peaceful. When I turn the wheel, it's just peace.
You see, this is interesting to see. So if you consider that the machine is the computer, this one would be the programming of the machine. It's the path you have to follow, the setup of the machine to have a very specific design. This is the case. This one is for that pattern here. And it only works on this machine with this specific set of gears. If you use another guilloché machine, you have to reinvent your own path.
This will not work anymore.
And this was lost in time. These machines are difficult to find, but this kind of setup, it's something that the guilloché has to find for himself. And the art is not only cutting the dial, like Dimitri and Mike often say, it's actually setting up the machine. It's already part of the craft. How many dials can you cut more or less per day?
I think these kind of dials, 2 to 3 per day we can do.
Per day per machine.
Per machine.
Per operator.
Yes.
Some more complex take 6 hours to cut, so it's one dial
It's
a day.
one dial per day.
This is a flat dial, but you have even more complex one with an additional curve that brings a 3D dimension.
Exactly. So we have in our Delphis we have a half moon which is slightly curved, for example. This can be also done just with this rose turning machine, as you have to follow the shape of the domed surface. So in this case, we can turn this carving tool like
You
this.
adjust
Yes, exactly. So we can, in this direction, we can follow the pattern and the surface of the dial.
Shape of the.
So we can do flat and slightly domed. As in our current collection, in our novelties, we have also domed dials, which is also done with this machine. And exactly with this wave here.
This for the small second
Yes.
blue orbit.
Blue orbit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So actually, there you have a lot of patterns possibilities with these discs. There's
It's almost limited.
almost limited numbers you can do.
But you have to be very focused. If you
Exactly.
do a mistake,
Exactly.
you would see it immediately, and then
And
you
you
have
would
to start from zero again.
Yeah, you throw it away. So if the telephone is ringing and you're out of the focus, it can happen that you don't know where you was, and then you restart and make a mistake. Yes. So normally it happens when you've almost finished. After a hard-working day, it can happen. It's
annoying. I did nothing today.
Yeah. So
You don't want to talk to them when they make this kind of mistake at the end. It's better to leave them on the side.
Yeah.
They can become very aggressive.
Your face is turning red even when you talk about it.
Have you seen the graveyard that he has in the back?
I can show you. This is the box of our small defects, which cannot be used anymore.
Yeah, cannot find anything.
Yeah. Well, look very closely, of course, but in this case,
But you know.
yeah, I know.
That's why you're angry.
Here, for example, there was a very, very small one here. Here you can see that was the a little bit, yeah, but it's enough.
Wow.
Yeah, because unfortunately we've tried, but we cannot say to the customer, it's a little mistake, it's okay. No, he wants it perfect, right?
Nobody knows. Let's say like this. We do it as perfect as it is possible with an old machine and by doing it by hand and pushing it by hand.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's nice. The play of shadow and light is very lively because it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Because the lines are slightly different one to the other. Then you have something that is vivid. With a stamping, it's a flat line, light effect. It's not the same at all. So the imperfection make it perfect, and that's the beauty of these kind of crafts.
And of course, also if you touch it, it feels like silk.
There are different watchmakers that use this kind of ancient techniques. Not so many, but a few ones. I think what sets us apart from the rest of the industry is then how we fuse them with modern coatings, modern material. So we try to find a different angle, not to do already what exists in the market. There are some fantastic brands that do very classic guillochage, beautiful. But we try to do it with a modern twist. Give the piece
A little bit different.
exactly a bit of sexiness in it. It's also important to show the newest generation that this is an exciting craft as well. You have to propel it into a modern look. Otherwise, it's going to be lost. It's very difficult to convey that to new customers otherwise.
Exactly. Well, that's the secret of guillochage.
And this one is from the 60s.
60s.
And that's mainly straight sun ray.
So this one, for example, it can do just straight lines. For example, from the center to the outers. Here we are in our enameling kitchen. Here we're doing all the enamel work on our dials. I just show you how we do it. So do you know what is enamel?
It's kind of glass.
Yes, exactly. So this is a glass which will be burned at 800 degrees on top of a gold surface or silver surface.
Here you have the raw material, raw glass.
We crash this kind of piece into this powder here, and then keep it in a liquid to apply it much better on the gold surface.
He would wash it just like a gold digger. He washes the enamel multiple times till he gets only pure crystal and clean water. So exactly like you would do in the movies with the gold
With the
digger,
gold
right?
ones.
It's exactly the same technique.
So, for example, this looks very, very dark, but actually, if you see it closely, it is dark green, and this will be this color here.
Wow. Who would know before? Right?
Yeah, but so and after everything is clean and grinded, and we have our powder, we apply it just simply with a lot of patience and a brush.
Glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, younger you don't need glasses, right?
No.
It's because you're getting a bit older.
Let me say it like this. So 2 years ago, I didn't need glasses. But after 40, it's over. So we do it layer by layer. I will tell you why. Let's pretend it's all over. Then we have to dry it, and we're gonna dry it. If you can just zoom in. So it sucks all away. So all the water, all the liquid is gone. And after that, we are ready for burning it. So we have our oven here, which was not needed today. But at 800 degrees, we're going to put it.
Yeah, so then it melts and it becomes transparent.
We burn it roughly for a few minutes. It depends on the color. How green needs a little bit more than the red one. After that, when it's burned, it just melts down on this gold. And we are going to grind it. And as you can see, it is not smooth enough for the moment. So we have to file it a little bit to make it smooth
Even,
like this.
yeah.
Genau. And it will be like that after that.
So it's more evenly applied.
Exactly. So after all these process here, we do it again and again and again. So exactly. So we need 5 to 7 layers. We're doing it exactly in the same way, just to remove all the bubbles which can be inside. So the thinner the layers, the less you have bubbles inside. So and after all these steps, the finishing piece will be like that.
You polish
We polish it.
like a stone and the color will never change. It's fixed like a stone.
And after all this process, we just to assure that it will not crack inside a watch. We keep it lying there for 3 days, minimum 3 days, to be sure that no crack is inside because of the tensions, Because glass on metal, it's always like a little bit tension.
How do you make the colors? Is it by mixing different powders or do you need one powder for one color? How does that work in the enamel?
One color by one powder.
It doesn't work. Mixing them doesn't give you a third color.
No.
It doesn't work.
Normally-
It's not like
normally
printing.
No. Normally, because these are very particular pieces, inside, and if you mix them, then you have a lot of different dots.
And remember that they don't melt at the same temperature.
Yeah.
Every color has a different melting temperature. So if you mix them together, you don't have then a smooth surface.
yeah.
Then you also have to be careful when you do a series of watches that you use one single batch, because another batch could have a slightly different color, right? So if you don't have enough and you need another one to finish the series, they might not be exactly the same color. So you have also in advance to make sure you have enough there to do the full collection you want.
The whole range.
And there are basically just 2-3 companies that sell this kind of class. And one being excellent, the other one a little bit lower end. So you don't have many resources. Huh?
That's why we keep it under the shelf, in the shelf. Yeah, and of course we have to clean it and wash it and prepare it before using it. So that's the main secret.
Now, you were telling once that there is basically no school where you can learn that.
Not anymore, as far as I know. So in Germany, there was a school in Pforzheim. It was the Goldschmiedeschule. They were teaching enameling in classes. This education took 3.5 years, and since 1970s, I think, there is no more. So that means all the knowledge what we have, we learned from these guys who were learning it in school.
So you have to find someone who knows, learn from him, and then either you stay or you do it. Then you go your way and you do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's a companionship way of learning.
Exactly. So Give it to your next generation so that these techniques will never die, hopefully.
So this is the final step. We assemble all the watches here. All the parts come together here. We have 4 watchmakers. We have 1 person for quality control. They work in this sort of aquarium, like small fishes. And you see some of them working now on the assembling of the products. And we produce around 1,200 to 1,500 pieces per year, more or less. And then you have testing machines here. And normally they are tested 1 week to 2 weeks, depending on the models, in different position, different machine, water testing as well. And then only they leave here to the customers.
And there is even a museum, small museum.
There is even a small museum here. Iconic pieces of Chronoswiss which have made the story of Chronoswiss. Chronoswiss was the first watch company to set up a regulator on a wristwatch because it was made originally on the big clocks in the workshops. And you have the different iconic model from Chronoswiss. I'm not going to speak about all the dates because...
But what's your favorite?
My favorite is that one, which I wear.
Opus.
This is the Opus, exactly.
Green dial. Right.
It's a green dial with titanium case, full titanium grade 5. So the Opus, in fact, this is the evolution of the original Opus, which was launched in 1995. It was the first fully skeletonized chronograph movement made in the watch industry, integrated the date. You see, we have 4 counters on the Opus chronograph. You don't have this counter in any other chronograph in the watch industry. So I love the Opus. And you can see the evolution. Here it looks like a little vintage piece. I would say a little old-fashioned in brackets. But we still sell a lot. And now this is the evolution. You see more modern titanium. We use different materials.
And 100 meter water resistant.
100 meter water resistant, exactly. So that's why the motto of Chronoswiss is modern mechanical. So we keep the mechanical movement, but with a modern look and some modern techniques. I like to speak about the Opus because did you see the novelties from this year with the purple?
Purple,
purple. And you see the UV straps, UV sensitive.
No.
You haven't seen that one?
Yeah.
It's a UV sensitive strap. So when you will go outside under the sunlight,
it changed colors.
straps becomes purple, like the case of the watch.
Wow.
You see the evolution of the
It's cool, yeah.
You see the evolution of Chronoswiss. So now, today, it's a limited edition of 230 pieces. You see, it's becoming white now.
It changed really fast.
Yeah.
Faster than
Very
I
fast.
expected.
Very fast.